Okay. It helps to add myself to the stage also. I don't know what's up with this freaking Logitech thing. The camera's not as good as the camera on my laptop. All right. So I am doing a ranking of albums by Warren Zevon, and I will be going through each album and then giving a ranking at the end. If you have anything to say about Warren Zevon, let me know. It'd be better if I turn this light off. Let's see. I don't know if that's better, but all right, cool. So, like I said, I'm going to do some rankings of Warren Zevon, the albums of Warren Zevon, and I will go through each of his albums, tell you what I thought about it, and then I'll do a ranking of his albums at the end. It's something I did probably like 3 months ago. I went through his whole catalog, and now I don't want every Warren Zevon album. That might give a little bit away, but there's quite a few Warren Zevon albums that I wouldn't mind having, and I've actually picked some up also. So we will start with, and it was interesting because he had an album that came out. When did that first one come out? I think I was even trying to rank the songs. That's interesting. Wanted Dead or Alive. He had an album that came out in 1969. And if anybody's listening and they can hear me, I'm trying a new microphone out and the camera. So if anything sounds wonky, let me know. So yeah, 1969 he came out with Wanted Dead or Alive. And, we're in here. Might as well do this right. Let's see. Bring this up. That was the whole point of me doing this, I think. So I could give you some visuals at the same time. All right. And we're going to go to discography. And I'm going to actually share this so you can see what I'm talking about. So let me present. I always forget how to do this. Share screen, I think. And yep, there we go. All right, cool. So I can show you what I'm actually talking about. So I'll make myself small. If you're interested in talking about Warren Zevon, let me know. Again, I'm doing a ranking of Warren Zevon albums, studio albums. I didn't do the live. And I'm going to go through each one of his albums and give the ranking at the end. So if you're a Warren Zevon fan, let me know. I'll be checking my comments here. I should probably bring it up over here because when I come over to the other screen, that's what makes it weird because I can't see the StreamYard part while I'm on the Wikipedia page and showing you this stuff. So as you can see here, Warren Zevon has, how many albums did he have? Did I do an official count? No, but there's let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, that's 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, and he did one with REM too. I forgot to look that one up. There's a Hindu Love Gods that came out in 1990 with REM. Members of REM, including Michael Stipe. So that's kind of cool. So what did I say? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I guess you count that. So I guess I missed one if you count that with REM. So 9. That's 10, 11, 12. So it's like 13 albums I think he put out. So I apologize. I didn't do the Hindu Love Gods. I wasn't aware of that. Kind of was, but I thought it was a side project. I don't know they were actually including that in his collection. So that's interesting. So he put an album out in 1969. And his next album wouldn't come out till like 1976. So I was like, what the heck? That's interesting. And I thought his the first album was really good. So I'm like, usually if the first album's good, why do you wait? Was that 7 years to put out your next album? And I was looking around, doing some research, trying to figure out what was going on there. And I found out a little bit about it. I guess in between his first and second album, he was doing some work with the Everly Brothers. He was their like sort of the band leader, the conductor of their stuff. So I guess he just got busy with that for a while and didn't do his own stuff until 76. So that's interesting. So you never know how things work. I guess maybe that one wasn't, and it was a different type of album than when he comes out and puts out the self-titled Warren Zevon, which was his second album. So I'm going to pull this up so I can see the comments. Not that there's a ton of them right now, because got two people watching, and definitely let me know what you think about Warren Zevon. Yeah, well, that's the problem. This thing just decides not to connect to the internet. Okay, so the first album, Wanted Dead or Alive, was 1969. And I don't know if he had hits off of this or not. I'm not sure. But it was a solid album for me. I do my little rating system, and I gave it like an A rating. It was like 90% out of 100% kind of thing. So really liked it. There's only like Gorilla was a song that I didn't really care for off of this. Traveling in the Light was okay, but I gave the rest of them like the highest rating. Wanted Dead or Alive, Hitchhiking Woman, She Quit Me, Calcutta, Iko Iko. He does a cover of Iko Iko on there. Just enjoyed that album completely. So it's very cool. So then, like I said, then he puts that out in 69. You don't hear from him until 76 because he's working other bands, whatever. He's making connections though, because what's interesting is he always had somebody, big people on his albums. And that was kind of cool. And so the first album starts off with a psych rock feel, then progresses to a country feel and back to psych rock. So that album's, it's interesting, but it was fun. And his lyrics are always, even if I don't care for his songs, usually the lyrics are pretty dang good. So he does that work, whatever, as a band leader, whatever he's doing. And so 1976, he puts out his second album. A lot of people feel this is where his career started, talking to Zevon fans, but you can't forget that first album. It was good. And then so on this album, what would be, like Frank and Jesse James. Excuse me, getting over a cold here. Muhammad's Radio, that's pretty popular amongst Zevon fans. Carmelita was good. So I don't know. Oh, Hasten Down the Wind. So that was later on. Linda Ronstadt covered that, and she had an album called Hasten Down the Wind. Yeah, so overall, I gave it like an 85%. So it was like a B rating. So it was a good album, good solid album. Didn't like it as much as the first one, but good. I would pick that album up definitely if I saw it out somewhere. And what's funny, after I did this, I go to the record store, and somebody had just turned in or sold to the record store 3 Warren Zevon albums, and there were 3 of the ones I liked. So I picked up those 3, and I'll talk about those later. So 76, he puts that out. That album, self-titled Warren Zevon, was actually produced by Jackson Browne. And if you look at the musicians on the album, I mean, it's crazy who he has on here. Sorry, just switching over here real quick. Personnel on this is crazy. So you obviously have Warren Zevon. You have Jackson Browne doing harmony vocals and piano. Lindsey Buckingham's on guitar on that album. And everybody just left me. Awesome. Phil Everly. Well, there you go. There's your Everly brother connection, right? If he was working with those guys. Glenn Frey. So you have the Eagles, right? You have Jackson Browne, Eagles. Don Henley's on here. Stevie Nicks is doing backup vocals. Bonnie Raitt's doing harmony. Carl Wilson. So a lot of big names on that album. So he definitely made some connections, right? So that one got a good rating from me. Then Excitable Boy 78, pretty close. Ended up same thing, 85% rating. So I like, so far the first three albums are good as far as I'm concerned. So here was this is what Wanted Dead or Alive looked like. This is what Wanted Dead or Alive. Okay, so there's your cover. I don't know if I can make it. Yeah, you can make it bigger. Making it bigger. It's hard to tell because I'm on a different screen. Yeah, there you go. So that's Wanted Dead or Alive. And then bring it back to Warren Zevon. So this one. And this is a album that I'd seen before, but this is the big one produced by Jackson Browne with all these big names on here. Pretty amazing. Okay. Then we go to his third album, Excitable Boy. And the song Excitable Boy is just crazy. It's you just got to listen to it to know what I'm talking about. But here's Excitable Boy. And this one, again, yeah, got a nice high rating from me. The only one I didn't like was Nightmare in the Switching Yard, and that was kind of a disco song. So that was kind of weird. But this is where you have Werewolves of London, Accidentally Like a Martyr's on here. I like Johnny Strikes Up the Band. That comes right in with that strong song. Rollin' the Headless Thompson Gunner. So this is an album I definitely want to get. I love those songs. Lawyers, Guns, and Money is good. Vera Cruz. So except for like Nighttime in the Switching Yard, really could have been a completely solid, perfect album. But he had to do a disco thing in there. I don't know what the disco thing was about. So it is what it is. Then you have, so that was what, 78? And now we're turning to the 80s. Bad Luck Streak at Dancing School. And this was one of those albums that I actually picked up soon after doing this research. I found this album was available. And I think it was the next three albums, actually. And I picked those up. Good price, good condition. So it was cool. So let's go over to that one. Bad Luck Streak and Dancing School. Yeah, it's a good album. So this one ended up very high rating, like a 97%. Just every song was right there. The only one that wasn't like perfect, but it's not a bad rating, was Bad Luck Streak and Dancing School. The very first song started okay, and then it just gets better. Certain Girl, Jungle Work, Empty Handed, he does with Linda Ronstadt. Play It All Night Long. Just, yeah, this is a great album. Jeannie Needs a Shooter, Gorilla, Your Desperado, Bed of Coals, Wild Age. Yeah, just great songs. Really good Warren Zevon song. It could be a good starter. Any of these beginning early albums could be good starters. So that got like the highest rating at that point. Then I got picked up a copy of The Envoy. Because he did a live album after that, and I didn't rate the live album. That was Stand in the Fire. The Envoy, right here. That was another one I picked up that day at the record store. I got another high rating, like a 90%. I don't even know how this didn't get a perfect score. I don't know what I did here because I rated it as high as it can go for each one. So the Envoy actually got 100%. I don't know what I did there. Ooh, it's going to change my rating at the top. Yeah, that's going to have to be. Give me just a second. I'm going to change my thing here because, wow, I don't know how I did that. Must have changed it. Maybe I went back and listened to it and changed the lower one to I. Who knows? It's interesting. So there we go. Wow. So the Envoy. It's 100%. There you go. So yeah, like the song "The Envoy." The Overdraft has Lindsey Buckingham doing backup vocals, and it's like Lindsey's prime Lindsey with his crazy, like psychotic sounding voice just works. The Hula Hula Boys, it's a good, like, fun. He can have humor in his music, and this is definitely a good example of that. The Hula Hula Boys just singing very seriously about the Hula Hula Boys taking his girl away, so it's pretty cool. Ain't That Pretty at All? Charlie's Medicine, that was good. Yeah, what was that? Was that the one about? There's one about being a dealer or buying the drugs or something, and then the guy gets killed and he feels bad about it or something like that. It's an interesting song. Looking for the Next Best Thing, Never Too Late for Love. Yeah, just great. And then the third one that I picked up that day was Sentimental Hygiene. Good album. Got like in my ranking system, it got about an 86%. And it's this one right here. So, yeah, Sentimental Hygiene. Boom Boom Mancini. That's a good one about about a boxer, right? The Factory. Talking about working in the factory all these years and whatever. Trouble Waiting to Happen. Detox Mansion. Even a Dog Can Shake Hands. Yeah, there was something about the record industry or something like that with that song. The Heartache I liked a lot. And Leave My Monkey Alone is just a humorous song. Wasn't the highest rated for me, but it's still it's a fun song. So then it gets a little weaker after this for me with Warren. He gets into Transverse City, and I think this one, I put notes on this. Yeah, big 80s sound. That's you can see, look at that, even got the 80s fro going, all kinds of stuff. But this one started getting weaker for me as we get into the 80s. You'll see like 80s and 90s, and then he kind of picks up later for me with his albums. Not a horrible, it's not a bad album, but just not one of my favorites. It got weaker scores. There's a song called Run Straight Down. It's the second song on the first side, and it actually has David Gilmour on guitar, which is cool. I like The Long Arm of the Law. They moved The Moon, which I liked a lot. It had like a 80s soundtrack sound, if you know what I'm talking about with that. Splendid Isolation I liked, and Nobody's in Love This Year. So there's a bonus track of Networking that is acoustic. Okay, so there's a song Networking got a really low score for me as far as the recorded version on this album. But in streaming, they had a bonus track of him doing Networking. It's acoustic and harmonica instead of like over 80s produced. And I thought that was much better than the album version. But I don't know if it would have fit on the album because of the sound. So I liked what he did with that when he stripped it down. Then after this one, Transverse City, he did Mr. Bad. So Transverse City was 89. So yeah, I guess I did like him all the way up to the late 80s. And in 89, late 80s, and I guess into the 90s a little bit is where he lost me some. So after Transverse City is So he did this one, and I didn't rate this, and I don't know, was this a, no, it was a full. There's 10 songs on here, and they're doing, and it's like blues songs. So it's Robert Johnson. So you have Warren Zevon with members of REM, including Michael Stipe, and they're doing like blues songs here. Well, they did Raspberry Beret, which is interesting. um, but then you have Bo Diddley, Willie Dixon, Robert Johnson, Woody Guthrie. So you're doing folk and blues on here, and I didn't listen to this, so I didn't realize this was really part of his collection. So I am going to have to go back and do that and see if it changes my ranking or anything. But there was Mr. Bad Example 91, and this one didn't do too bad. It was like an A rating in my rating system. So, I guess that one album, and then okay, so it kind of wavers in and out because yeah, Mr. Bad Example. I like Susie Lightning. I like that one a lot. Angel Dressed in Black was good. Mr. Bad Example is good. Renegade. The whole second side is perfect. So it's just like a couple weak spots for me on the first side, and then the second side was really good. Renegade, Heartache Spoken Here with Dwight Yoakam's on that one. Quite Ugly One Morning, Things to Do in Denver When You're Dead, which I believe was a soundtrack or title song to the movie Things to Do in Denver When You're Dead. And Searching for a Heart's really good. Yeah, so Mr. Bad Example actually came in good for me, so I will be looking for that one. So after Mr. Bad Example, that is a live one, so I did not listen to that. And there was Mutineer, 95. And this got a lower rating, like a C rating for me. I like Seminole Bingo because he's actually talking about Florida, where I'm from. And he's talking about that in there a little bit, and the alligators and stuff, I think, in that. Something Bad Happened to a Clown, really good song. I mean, God, it's like a sad sounding song, and just the whole feel that he put into this is crazy. And Something Bad Happened to a Clown. It's just so good. Similar to Rain's good. And then I like the song Mutineer a lot. And there was just some weak ones in there for me. Piano Fighter, Rottweiler Blues were just weak. Monkey Wash, Donkey Rinse was okay. So I don't know. Maybe I will end up with this whole catalog because there are some strong songs on there on each album. And then Life Will Kill You. Several of the album songs deal with the topic of death. For instance, my pardon the language, but My Shit's Fucked Up is a mournful lament on the aging process and the inevitable decay that accompanies. And I believe I like that one a lot. Yep, it's a good song. So Life Will Kill You. I don't know if he was diagnosed at this point with his illness. He had like mesothelioma or something like that. But it got a high rating for me. There wasn't like really bad songs, just weaker songs, but for the most part they were good. I Was in a House When the House Was Burned Down. Life Will Kill You. Weaker one was Porcelain Monkey and I'll Slow You Down. For the next trick, I'll Need a Volunteer. That wit's in there. Fistful of Rain, Ourselves to Know. Yeah, just really good album. He does Back in the High Life again, the Winwood song on here, a real mellow version. Dirty Little Religion and Don't Let Us Get Sick. Several of the album songs deal with the topic of death. Additionally, Zevon had a phobia of doctors, leading him to avoid them for several years. In 2002, just 2 years after the album's release, Zevon was diagnosed with mesothelioma and died a year later. So he had a fear of doctors, wasn't diagnosed in time. Maybe he could have been, saved or something. Who knows? But it's interesting that he had a fear of doctors. Then My Ride's Here, second to last album, 2002. Let me go over here. My rides here got a lower, got like a C rating for me, like 70%. Not a lot of big songs for me on here. My favorite was probably Lord Byron's Luggage. Then the rest were just like, weren't bad to me, but mediocre. And maybe I need to listen to it again. But you had Sacrificial Lambs, Hit Somebody, the hockey song. And actually on the hockey song, he has David Letterman and Paul Schaefer from The Tonight Show. He was big friends with David Letterman, and there's a couple appearances right towards the end where Letterman kind of, he knew he was sick, and he had him on, and they kind of had the feeling that this was the last time he'd be on the show, and it's very bittersweet. And I think Letterman asked him to do Roland the Headless Thompson Gunner, and he plays it for him, so it's pretty neat. The relationship they had, and he was on there a lot. You can go on to YouTube and see how many times he was on the David Letterman show. It's crazy. So yeah, it was an okay album for me. I don't know. Maybe I will end up with his catalog though. We'll see. Maybe a second listen of all these, because it's been a while. I did this, and I just haven't done the video. That's why I went live to see if my buddy was up, but there's nobody, excuse me, up right now. Or nobody wants to watch me. Who's live? Somebody must be live over there for nobody to see me. But it's 12 also. Then he puts out The Wind in 2003, and this was cool. Had a ton of people on here. What's the personnel on here? I mean, just everybody it came out and just helped him with this album. Let's see, personnel: Dirty Life and Times, and this got an A rating for me, a very high rating. You had Ry Cooder on guitar, Don Henley on drums, Billy Bob Thornton steps in with some backing vocals with Dwight Yoakam, Disorder in the House. Springsteen's on electric guitar and backing vocals. Jim Keltner on drums. Then you have Knocking on Heaven's Door. I mean, come on. Tommy Shaw plays a 12-string on that. Billy Bob Thornton backing vocals. John Waite is on backing vocals. Numb as a Statue. I think that was one that I liked a lot. She's Too Good for Me. Don Henley's on backing vocals and Timothy B. Schmidt. So there's some of your Eagles and Poco. Prison Groove, Ry Cooder guitar. Jordan Zevon, I think that was his son, and he was on a different album with him too. Showed up on one of his previous albums. Springsteen, Jackson Browne, T-Bone Burnett, Billy Bob Thornton, El Amor de Mi Vida. And he sings that in Spanish, I believe. Then the rest of the night, you have Mike Campbell, Heartbreakers there, electric guitar. Tom Petty on backing vocals. I mean, look at all the people on this album. Please Stay. Emmylou Harris on backing vocals. Rub Me Raw. Joe Walsh slide guitar on that. Keep Me in Your Heart. And that's the one that just tears you apart, because that's his goodbye. And it's the last song on the album, and he's just saying goodbye to his family. And it's just very heartfelt, very rough. So he's kind of his way of talking from the grave almost. But yeah, that's this one here, The Wind. That was his last album. And, right there, he's, not doing well. He was kind of on his way out. So my ranking, I changed it and actually did it correctly. So my ranking of Warren Zevon studio albums, no live stuff. So we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So 12 albums. So I guess there were 13, but I didn't do the REM. Sorry about that. But there's 12 here. So from worst to best, my rides here from 2002. Then Transverse City, 1989, the very 80s sounding one. Mutineer from 1995. The Warren Zevon self-titled, 76. And see, all these are so tight. You're talking Warren Zevon and the Excitable Boy album from 78 both had the same percentage, like dead on. Like they matched perfectly. And then Sentimental Hygiene, 1987 was, 1% better than the other one. That's how tight these are for me. Then it jumps up to like 90% for Wanted Dead or Alive, 1969. Mr. Bad Example, like 93%, 1991. The Wind, 2003, his last album was 94. Yeah, right here, Life Will Kill You, 2000, 94. So they're like right dead on. Bad Luck Streak and Dancing School, 1980 was 97%, and The Envoy, 1982 was perfect. I didn't realize that. I must have listened to it again and changed something, but The Envoy, for me, was the number one album of Warren Zevon for me. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So my top 5 Warren Zevon: Mr. Bad Example at 5, The Wind at 4, Life Will Kill You at 3, Bad Luck Streak and Dancing School 2, and The Envoy is number 1. And I really regret not picking up The Wind. It came out Record Store Day, was it last year, whatever, and I didn't pick it up. So how did I get balloons? That's interesting. How did I get balloons? Nobody's watching, and balloons just appeared. How did that work? How do balloons pop up out of nowhere? That's weird. Okay. I don't know what I did. So anyway, that's what I have for you guys. I'm going to go ahead and kill it because nobody came up or anything. So there's no point in continuing live, but I'll keep this up. So this is my Warren Zevon ranking of his albums. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. Leave me some comments down there. Got somebody just popped up. Oh, they're gone. So yeah, leave me some comments down below. I sound like Canadian Stub Muffins. Leave your comments down below, right? That's what he does. Anyway, let me know what you think about Warren Zevon, your experience with him. If you haven't checked him out, I highly, highly recommend it. There's amazing lyric writing with this guy. Just he can express himself so well through the music itself. I guess you can see what he did there for like the Everly Brothers or whatever he was doing in those years that he wasn't making albums. But how do I make myself? There we go. So all those years that he wasn't making albums, you can really see he was a really good arranger and just composer and everything. So very cool. So I will let you go. Again, comments below, and I'll respond to your comments. We'll talk about Warren Zevon. Tell me what you think about my ranking. What you guys, what's your favorite album? Maybe top 5 or something like that. And until next time, you guys enjoy your music and take care out there. All right. Bye.